Hi, this is Perez Baruch Eichler in Deal on the Jersey Shore. A summer day when this part of the state becomes filled with people that come to enjoy the weather, the shore, and all the bounty of this area, both religiously and culturally. But for some, like Rabbi Gavriel Sassoon, it's a time of reflection, a time of thoughtfulness, a time of remembrance of a tragedy that happened just a few short months ago when 7 of his children were killed in a tragic fire in their home in Brooklyn. For him, coming to Deal is a way to reinvigorate, to remember, to commemorate, and to inspire others to take the message of this tragedy into meaningful moments in their lives that will make a difference in people's lives. And he's going to be speaking to us about that right here in this exclusive interview. But the words and thoughts that he's going to say are things that you're going to be hearing much more now as he takes his message around the state, perhaps around the country and around the globe. It is filled with meaning, a message for all of us. Rav Gavriel, if I may call you Rav Gavriel. It's the summer, it's Deal, it's several months after the tragedy that took your 7 children. It must be so difficult for you now. Now you're beginning to speak on a broad scale to people. Why are you at this point deciding to go out and to really speak about what happened?
The reason I'm doing it is because I don't want my children's lives to go to waste. You know, they were Mekadeshem Shemaim. It moved people. It opened up their hearts. They want to change. I want to take advantage of that opening to continue delivering messages of chizuk and emunah and bitachon, so that their life shouldn't go to waste, to maximize their sacrifice.
When you say emunah bitachon,
yes,
is the emunah and bitachon that you have now different than it was prior to the tragedy? And if so, how is it manifest? How does it show itself?
That's a good question. I feel like I'm the same person before and after. But the difference, the way I do have a difference of how I look at the world. Before, I was busy with my learning, my kids, and it seemed like everybody else was fine. I never saw suffering by people. Everyone seemed to have a pretty good life. Everyone's learning, everyone's this. And I also saw a lot of machloket, like, you know, you have different groups of people and they don't interrelate. But since the fire, I changed my attitude towards Am Yisrael completely, because I see the oneness in Am Yisrael. And the oneness started becoming from how they all gathered around me during the funeral, how they all cared from all walks of life. And I still continue to see that outpouring of love and care, and how we're really all one. So from my personal perspective, I see the oneness. It was hard for me that Am Yisrael wasn't one all these years. It used to bother me. And I saw it was only my perception. Now I realize only my limited perception, it was like that. But we're really one on a deep level. And another thing I see different is how much people are suffering. I didn't realize how much people were suffering, because now when I go out and talk to people, I see in their eyes how much they're suffering, how much they all need love, how much they all need bitachon, direction. Like, people are living lives, they don't know what they want out of their lives. You know, they didn't get a yeshiva or Torah education, so they go run after materialism and doesn't make them happy, family problems.
You're finding that this is something across the board,
across the board.
Of the economic spectrum?
Yeah, for sure. So I see all over I go, people are suffering, and I never knew it was so deep and so widespread. It seemed like everyone was okay. So maybe they became more compassionate, I don't know. That's what I see. Those are differences I see. But emunah bitachon, I think I'm the same. Yeah.
One of the things that you said, Rav Gavriel, in previous interviews was that you didn't know how you'd be able to go on.
Yeah.
And yet, obviously, you are going on.
Right.
What would you tell somebody else who feels like, that's it, I can't go on, it's not worth going on?
Right, so if you feel like that, so what I told also is, like, you have to surrender those emotions and those thoughts. Those are just thoughts. You're thinking about the future, which is all in your thought, it's not real. Or you may be thinking about the past, which is also all in your head, it's not real. The only thing real now is the present moment. And that you could control. You could control your thoughts and emotions. People think you can't, but you have to train yourself that you could. and just let it all go to Hashem, and then you'll feel good. And then next step, when you get to the next step, you'll let that go again. You go step by step. And by step, you'll see that you traveled a great distance. But looking forward after such a tragedy or any kind of suffering that you have, that you feel like you can't go on, that's just the Yetzer Hara and your thoughts saying, I can't make it, I can't make it. And you make it a reality because you're telling yourself those things. So you have to be aware of how you're thinking, aware of your emotions, and then let that go. Surrender that to Hashem. It's really your ego, because Hashem has greater plans for you. He's totally compassionate, He's totally loving. And all the suffering you're creating the suffering. Hashem gives you tests. Hashem gives you nisyonos. He gives you challenges, but He doesn't create evil. You create the evil by thinking this is horrible, this is terrible, I can't go on. But if you say, oh, this is another test for me it's another hurdle for me to overcome, and it's too big of a hurdle. So break it down. Just this moment, can you surrender to Him for just this moment? Can you feel Hashem's love just for this moment? And I think that would help tremendously.
Let me ask you this, and this is a painful, difficult question also, but from people that were not so observant, I heard something like, yes, it's a terrible tragedy, but don't you people say that the Shabbos is supposed to keep you if you keep the Shabbat? So what would you tell somebody like that?
So someone asked me a similar question. How come such a person like you did everything right at Tzaddik or whatever, had such nisyonos? I said Hashem's ways are so much deeper. It's not tit for tat. The Hashgacha is so deep, you don't even know what His plans are and what He's doing. You have Tzaddik v'tov lo and Tzaddik v'ra lo, Rasha v'tov lo, Rasha v'ra lo. Those are the deepest questions. And there are answers, but it's a whole philosophical thing. It's not time now to get into it. But if you make a bel hava b'isurin, the reward is very great. It's very great. You don't know. I don't know what my reward is. I'd rather have my children. That's the biggest reward for me. But I don't know. I don't know what to expect. But Hashem knows what He's doing, and everything is for the best. And if you know that gives you a peace of mind. Because I see it in my own limited way, how it should be. Hashem has, He loves you more than you could even imagine, more than He loves yourself. He wants the best for you, more than you want for yourself. So you have to trust Him.
In terms of when you say to trust Him, Metamuna and B'tachon, this is a subject that now you're going to be speaking to groups around Deal, coming to Lakewood and other places. What are you going to be saying in terms of what you're talking about here? What other things will you say to fortify people? What's the gist of what you're going to be saying?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I don't know. The truth is, in my experience, I learn, so I know what to say, but then it just becomes another shear.
Right.
And it's not so effective. People are much more affected, I saw, when I'm much more simple, speak from my heart, and just say my feelings. And that's more effective. So I guess that's how I'm going to do it. I don't prepare. Whatever comes to my mind, I speak. Like in the funeral, I was so broken, I couldn't even say anything. But Hashem just gave me this, gave me that. I put it together. Whatever came, and it affected people because it was from my heart. It wasn't prepared. Someone said, "Did you prepare?" I said, "How could I prepare? I'm not in such a state I could prepare." But it's like so because I rely on Hashem. When you surrender, He comes and He helps. So that's what's happening.
Baruch Hashem, your wife has just returned from the hospital.
Yes.
Have you begun conversation with each other to talk about where you go from here?
Yeah, we did. So when she was in induced coma for a while because of the pain, so I think a month and a half. So the world changed a lot since then. She doesn't know what happened. So I was explaining to her, a lot of people are being moved. The kids are affecting a lot of people. They want to do tshuva. I was telling her to encourage her, to make her feel that she's succeeding in life, because the whole purpose for a Jewish parent, is they want their children to grow up to Mekadesh Shem Shamayim. So I told her, you were successful. They were Mekadesh Shem Shamayim. And you don't know, it's not the same place. And now, we have to do, I told her I'm already, whatever I say, it's affecting people. So now it's your turn. The women are waiting for you. They're waiting for you. And she has much more natural emunah than I do. I have it all from learning Torah and working on myself. She just has it naturally. Like I guess emunah of a woman is on a different level, and so I'm encouraging her that she should, when she's ready, when she's more healed, that she should go out. And we even make a joke, like, because I'm a very private person. I was very modest and sanua. I never exposed my feelings and thoughts. Even my wife, she says, I had to pry it out of you what you were thinking and feeling all the time. And I'm your wife, and now you're going around, you're openly expressing to the public what you're thinking and feeling. So she was laughing about that. But
you mentioned, Gavriel,
yeah.
that you've seen an effect on people in this short period of time.
Yeah.
What type of things have you seen that has made a real and tangible effect, other than, wow, it's such a tragedy and we feel terrible, and how are you feeling about it? What changes have you actually seen been implemented, taken on by people?
On people, they're looking for more meaning. When I look in people's faces, I see love for some reason. I see desire to connect. I don't know if it's connect to me or connect to Hashem. They're just looking for more. Gedolim told me basically this happened to raise the emunah of Am Yisrael, to get them ready to receive Mashiach. So, there's been a lot of tragedies lately. So, and as it's happening, people are opening up and they're forced to look for deeper, higher meaning, instead of just thinking the world is coincidence and things just happen and it's random.
You had said that you looked upon the tragedy as a kapara,
Yeah.
as an atonement. How would somebody understand that? How would you explain that to somebody?
See, for me, it's a nechama for me. That was in Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and it was a day that Nadav and Avihu were taken as korbanos of fire when the day of the Hakamas Mishkan. So it's Bekrovai Kadesh. They were the closest to Hashem. So Hashem was Mekadesh himself through their death. So I don't know if it's true or not, but I feel that my kids are sparks of Nadav and Avihu, and they're doing the same thing. And Bekrovai Kadesh doesn't mean he takes the closest one, but he makes everybody closer. The pain and the suffering, the crying that everyone's sharing with me, and not being able to understand how such a thing could happen, that makes him close to Hashem. It's another step. It's not that, So I think the kapara itself is that they get close to Hashem, that the emunah expands, and they know there has to be something deeper, and they're searching for more. That itself, I think, is the result of the kapara.
I understand that there's a Sefer Torah which is going to be written.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that and how one would participate, and will it be Ashkenazim, Sephardim?
Oh, so there's a few Sefer Torah I heard of. The Chicago community already made one for me. Misaskim, who helped me in the tragedy, they don't have enough Sefer Torah to give out when people are sitting Shiva. Right, so every Monday and Thursday they need Sefer. They don't have enough, so they want to make 7 Sefer Torah, one for each of my children. They made the first one already. It was very fast. The community there got together very quickly. So if you could get in touch with Misaskim, they're looking for 6 more. The Cheder that my boys learn in Eretz Yisrael is making a Sefer Torah also for them, for my boys. I was there. They started when I was in Eretz Yisrael for the Shloshim. I was there. I wrote the first letter, and they're going to start trying to complete it.
You said, Reb Gavriel, that you looked at the death of your beloved children as almost a mandate, as something that compels us to do something. How do you see it as a mandate? What do you want when people hear you speak, when people listen to you? Aside from the sympathy, perhaps even empathy, if that can be possible, what do you want people to do as you see as this mandate, as you put it? Whether the person is religious or not religious.
Right. So basically, you have to be a better person. And everyone, I don't know what to say, but everyone has to look into their heart, see what's missing, and grow. And when I advise people, they come to me, like the way I raised my children was so much love and so much misut nefesh. So I say, you want to make a world a better place? Start first with shalom bayit. Work on your shalom bayit. Because when the relationship with the husband and wife is strong, then that's the basis for the children to feel secure and feel loved. And then work on, being mechanech the children properly, understand them, don't negate them. Because what happens is, in the day-to-day life, they get in your way, you have to do this, you have to do that, and you forget about the child. You go, okay, later, or you shout at them that they're bothering you. But what happens in the end is, everybody knows, the moments you remember the rest of your life are the times you spend with your children, and not the times that you're busy with doing something else that they were in their way. That you don't forget, you don't remember at all. It's like no one would give their child away for $1 billion, but you're in business, you have to make money, so you don't spend time with your children instead. So you're selling him out for a few dollars. So the craziness of life makes you think crooked. So you have to keep focused what's important in life all the time, and not wait for tragedy to realize what's important, and live that way all the time. And not just with children, with others as well. But if the children are raised, my children were raised with, my wife was very devoted to them, and I was also devoted to them, and we raised them in the way of Torah mitzvahs. They had so much love, they had so much self-esteem. They naturally did chesed with others, and they were also a magnet to others. They weren't loud, they were very modest, but their natural simchas hachaim that they had from growing up with Torah and mitzvahs and love, it just attracted people, and they did chesed naturally with other people, because when they see things weren't right, they would fix it. If someone was being teased or someone wasn't happy, my child would befriend them. All of them were like that. And that comes from being loved and having self-esteem. And so if the children grow up that way, naturally there'll be havas chinam. You could affect the whole community. Otherwise, you have to work on a much harder level. Like you have to go out of your way and teach others how to think and that. But if naturally you have self-esteem, it's easier to have a havas chinam. It's easier to have a society that reflects Hashem's achdus. And it's shivir midas. To do that, you have to
the
breaking of midas on yourself. Like you have to stop. You don't do what you want, you do what's right, you do what's best for the other. You learn to become selfless. You have to control your anger or control your frustration or your grief and do what's right. And you become a much greater person in that process as well. So it's a win-win situation. You have to just have the right hashkafa. And then this way you could change the world. You change yourself while you're changing the world. And Torah and mitzvahs are our guide. And then you care about others, you care non-religious people as well, and if non-religious people, they also need meaning in life. So, like what I see is I teach them to get away from the materialistic pursuits. There's higher ideals. It'll make you happier. It'll make you more fulfilled, and that's what Hashem wants from you. There's so many angles to it, but that's basically it.
Have you interacted and spoken with people that are from the non-religious population of the Jewish community, and what has their reaction been? Have you seen any change within the context of people that you've met who are not yet Shomer Mitzvot?
Most people that ask me to speak or come in touch with me are the religious people, and I would like to reach out to the non-religious people as well. But I don't go out looking, I just get phone calls and I say, okay, because I'm not at that stage where I'm making a business out of it or whatever. Maybe I have to, I don't know. But I might team up with organizations that do kiruv and use that as a power base. But
it's something that you feel compelled to do, though, the desire to do that it should not be something which, as you said, went in vain. That the message should be taken and utilized and implemented.
Yeah, I would like that. I'm saying, I don't know if I said it's a mandate, but it's like more like they're doing a chesed for me. So it's not really for me, it's really for themselves. But they have to make a world a better place, and I want my kids, the impetus that they started shouldn't be forgotten.
would you give a bracha to all those who are be privileged to be able to see this, and where you're going down the line with it? Where could you give everybody else a bracha to be able to feel the sense of obligation that you do?
Who am I to give a bracha? But we should all have clarity, so we know what's right, what Hashem wants, and we're not sidetracked by the little things of life, and keep our focus straight, what's important, loving others, doing mitzvahs, and helping others, and going out and influencing the world to make the world a better place so we could bring the Geula as soon as possible.
Amen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.